The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and I'm Charlie Butler. I don't know why I say that, but anyway, for those that don't know who I am after 8 years on the show, but with my cast of characters today, and we're back to a full cast today. In fact, to my left, David Crow from Churchill Mortgage. And good morning, David.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone.
And to his left, that someone you may have forgot about since it's been so long since he'd been on, is Candace DeArmond. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, David.
Good.
So what are we going to say about your absence?
Well, I don't know. I'm a busy girl.
I just know she was in Panama and then she was sick. So.
And then I was gone for a while. Yeah.
After Panama, I'll tell you what, those drug charges in other countries, it is not easy to raise that much bail.
Telling you what. Those South American prisons are really rough.
And, of course, we are joking.
Yes, we are.
Candace has had a little bit of a health scare.
Yeah.
But she's doing good.
Track. We're getting back on track.
And it's good to have you back.
Well, thanks. It's good to be back.
And to her left, to your right, if you're looking at the radio, is the part who's been filling in for Candace, and our favorite guest always is Mindy Woodward. Good morning, Mindy.
Good morning. And I think it was funny when you said David's name, he kind of looked at me like, is that who I am? But anyway, good morning, Tri-State.
And, well, David, you and I, of course, since we're taping on Friday this time, so the elections happened, as everybody knows, unless they've been under a rock, Donald Trump's the new president. But you and I, and, the stock market the next day went up 1,500 points. And we were talking off air about, all the gains. And then we said, except for Mr. Buffett. And Warren Buffett has invested $3.25 billion in bonds this quarter.
They will rebound. But he did not like Wednesday. He did not like Wednesday following the election.
I mean, he'll make a few billion less than he would have. Oh, by the way, Berkshire Hathaway stock, which I own, was up $22 on Wednesday. So can you imagine how much money he made?
$22, and it's been a crazy week is what it's been. Yeah. Leading into the election, post-election, and the markets from our side being real estate, mortgages, interest rates. The reality is it's all. I'm telling people things are just going to settle out. Just like my comment about Buffett. There's been some crazy that's happened immediately, and it all shakes out in the wash.
Of course, he's been doing this for a while.
Yes.
He did this before the election.
Yes.
Last show, I think we talked about that.
I have no idea who he'd predicted to win, but...
And he wouldn't say.
Excuse me.
No. He said, if you see that I made a prediction, you'll know it's AI. Because it wasn't me.
It wasn't. Man, AI is scary nowadays. Some of the
really
videos we all see.
It really is.
Sports, some of the coaches' interviews after a game. And
Candace may still be in jail in Panama.
I might be.
Is this really her? We're not sure.
Nope.
So, yes, for politicians and people, in the media spotlight, the AI can be kind of scary on some of the things that look like legitimate interviews. And they're not, but it's crazy.
When we first started hearing about AI, I was at Keller Williams Convention, and Gary Keller was speaking, and he was talking about AI. This has been several years ago now, but he was talking about what a good thing it could wind up being. And I'll never forget he said this, because I saw people kind of snickering and stuff because we didn't know anything about it. But then he said, but if we don't use it right, it will take over.
Well, Charlie, we won't spend this show, but I'm making my kids go back and watch Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, the original one from the 80s, and how the machines took over the planet. And then in this past year, the interviews of some of the creators, the founders, whatever their titles are, even they have sincere concern about where this would go. And I'm like, it's 1987 or whatever Terminator was. And I'm like, my God, he's describing what that movie was back then. So, yeah.
We've got a member of our team, Natalie Butel, and Natalie's dad is an investment banker in New Jersey. Mindy and I always call him a loan shark, but that's when Natalie's around.
I mean, I'm just saying.
But anyway, when Natalie graduated from college, what was left for her college fund, he said, I've been holding the stock in your college account. I'm going to give you, and don't sell this because, so it's going to be valuable someday. Natalie's in her late 30s now, and it was NVIDIA.
Oh, my goodness.
He gave her NVIDIA 17 years ago, roughly.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So and she's working?
Yeah.
She's working?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that just, things like that. Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
I just
you,
started
Daddy.
using Chat GPT the other day. It was super weird.
It is very weird.
I saw, we were putting, and you guys have seen it too, putting a new marketing proposal for the team together. And Sarah Courtney, our office manager, some of the people that did not have their bios in, she just put a little basic information in, boom.
Yeah.
There it was.
I mean, that's how I did it. So I just went in and just typed in like some basic information, and it created these paragraphs. I was like, that is so strange.
Even the crazy stuff you do it, Chris?
Yes, it do. It was
Polished it right up.
I mean, it made it sound real pretty.
Mindy brings beautiful pies.
Yes.
3 or 4 closures.
Yeah, along the same lines, not exactly AI, but it is. I went to USI this week to meet a client of mine, and there were these little robot things that were going, and I was like, what is this? It was really kind of creepy. They were crossing the street and everything. And then I looked, and it was DoorDash, and they were going, I guess, to... It was creepy.
Really?
Yeah, very, very...
I hadn't seen that.
I see the TV commercials where people at their front door lift this, this rolling box, if you will, and raise the lid so that, we see this stuff on TV all the time, and especially the drones overhead. Don't really pay a lot of attention to it. But you're saying at USI, this is truly automated in terms of getting those college kids those DoorDash meals.
I had initially, whenever I saw one, because it was crossing in front of me, but it was up a ways, and I thought, this must be part of some of the construction they're doing. And then I saw another one, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that's a DoorDash robot. Yeah.
David, I don't know, Candace will be an expert on this because she has everything delivered. So robots will show up to her front door with her groceries, food, whatever. Candace,
if robots start bringing it, I might actually go do my own grocery shopping.
Really? It's coming. You just described it.
Okay, Bobby, be sure we've got that one on the table, okay? Because she refuses to go to the grocery store no matter how much I harass her.
Well, my husband and I were in a restaurant in St. Louis. We went to a rock concert, and so we're sitting there. We ordered our food, and the next thing you know, there's a robot that comes out with the food.
Do you tip the robot?
I'm not sure. I don't know how that works, but they had food robot waiters. Oh. It was so, I was like,
St. Louis?
Yes, at the casino.
So weird.
Believe it or not.
Oh, casinos drive everything. That's where the real money is located.
Yeah, it was real weird, though.
And as Steve went, I was watching a thing about casinos the other night. It just been a few weeks ago. And they interviewed Steve Wynn from years ago when he owned everything out there. And they said, what's your system for the best way of making money at the casino? He goes, own one.
Own one. That's the best way.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
It's kind of like my doctor. Him and his wife go all the time, and they're leaving one day, and they walk out, $1 billion resort, and see all the other ones there, and she says, "Why do we never win?" And my doctor's a real calm type. He says, "You might look around you. They didn't build all this on winners."
No,
they did not.
Amen for all the losers that come out there.
And so, David, we thought with the stock market and everything that was going on that you would have some good news for us. And who's going to say it on the
Rates.
The rights.
Love it.
So you got a double header there, David.
Yes.
When you sent the email yesterday or the day before about the rights, I read it that way.
That's the way you read
Yeah,
it.
that's the way
I read it in David's voice. It's super weird.
Me too. It is
I
very
love that.
weird. I don't read
love
anything in
it.
other people's voices, but I do in David's voice. Like,
You know I'm talking to you in
I
that
do.
email.
Tell them
That's
about the
exactly
rights,
it.
Mindy.
There's the rights, baby.
So David, I can't do that. I can't do that. So, but the rates keep going up, and so why is that when with the stock market going up, the bond prices should be going down? Correct.
Yes and no, because the 10-year Treasury is right in
Don't-
the
don't
mix
give-
there.
don't give me the
baby.
political
There you
answer,
go.
David.
Yeah. Now great question. Great question.
Normally, the bond prices would go down.
Yeah. So the reality of it is the bond prices, they are. But we've said this for a while. Well, actually, we've said it since COVID. What was normal prior to COVID in terms of how rates, bonds, the stock market kind of trail? It's like 10-year Treasury. You know, pre-COVID, wherever the 10-year Treasury was, that's what you were looking in terms of rates and so forth. And that's not the case. We've been disjointed. The bizarre thing, and I did share, folks, Charlie, you can go back and check my dad on this. Thursday morning this week, what was that, November 7th? Good Morning America had a little segment, and a little lady, I don't know her name, she did a segment talking about how on September 18th, the Fed cut 50 points. We did. So when you are hearing this, the Fed did cut another 25 basis points this Thursday. And they were doing a prelim, and she said, hey, for credit cards, for car loans, you're going to see this immediate effect of a downward pressure on rates, federal funds rate. However, long-term mortgage rates since September have actually done nothing but go up as a nation. And that's what's been a battle for all of us, is because we all thought we were going to continue on this downward trend we were seeing through literally August into September, feeling great. It was great compared to where we've been. So we've been rising. I will say this, by the time folks are hearing this, Thursday and Friday of this week, the markets are responding favorably as it relates to long-term interest rates. We're seeing this move down. I think the election had so much built-in fluff, uncertainty, whatever's going to happen. Charlie, you just mentioned once Trump was named the president-elect, the stock market shot up 1,500 basis or 1,500 points in a day. Stocks went great. It negatively affected rates. That was on Wednesday. However, Thursday and Friday we're starting to trend, and we now are over a 70% chance of an additional 25 basis points cut in December. And then Jerome Powell made some positive comments on Thursday that the Fed, in my opinion, are starting to get smarter with the data. They realize that some of the data has 3 and 6 months lags. They know this. They just haven't wanted to recognize it. His comments on Thursday finally triggered their acceptance that some of the data is delayed. I think rates are going to continue to drop significantly, especially in the second half of 2025.
When you say significantly, where do you think you're going to drop to?
I think right now we could see, what's crazy is we've now experienced 75 basis cuts, so 0.75 of a point lower on the federal funds rate right now. Long-term mortgage rates from September have averaged over 0.5 to 0.75% higher nationwide than we were before September. I do believe that because we were already experiencing some high 5s and 6s, and I believe by mid-2025, you're definitely going to see rates, solidly in the 5s, could be low 5s. In this world, I've stopped going too far out on a limb projecting what's going to happen because there's always been some screwball things which occur. But
you guys remember that David's doing loans in the low 5s.
In 2025.
I mean, it's on the radio.
I put
It
a
must be
note
true.
and that's
in
par
my
rate. That's
phone.
not people paying, 1, 2, 3 discount points to get that rate, which I've shared the last time we were here, is a little foolish, knowing the rates are going to move downward.
Right.
So,
and I guess we should pay some bills here. The Charlie Butler Real Estate Show is brought to you by Churchill Mortgage. which David's been given a long commercial for.
Yes.
Although he never actually talked about
No,
it.
I don't talk about Churchill. So much
No.
of my data is just nationwide, what we're all dealing with.
David using his expert from Good Morning America, whose
Yes.
name he doesn't remember.
I didn't care who she was. I liked what she was saying. It simply reinforced what, some challenging conversations every loan officer in America has had
Sure.
to have through the month of October and November.
So it is brought to you by David Crow and Churchill Mortgage. Churchill, before us, you heard about if you were listening before the show, because they are one of Dave Ramsey's main sponsors, and Dave has endorsed them for 25 years plus.
Yes.
So, but you heard an 800 number on there, and those people in Brentwood, Tennessee are great. But if you want local service, whether it be in Kentucky, Indiana, or Florida, David likes an occasional trip to Florida. So, David, how can they get a hold of you if they want to talk to somebody they can sit down with?
Sit down with in person. Folks, we say it each week on here. Cell phones are our industry. So 270-222-0676.
And also brought to you by the good folks at Bossy Title. And Jeff Bossy and his crew do just a fabulous job there. Notice we included Jeff in there, which is kind of strange, But we usually talk about Claire and Kelly and Norm, of course, Norm, and Norm's little brother now.
Little baby Phil.
Oh,
Is it Phil?
Phil.
Phil. Okay, I have not seen Phil yet.
Oh, he's so cute. Yeah.
Listen to the girls.
Oh, he's so cute. Oh.
He is.
And so go see Norm and Phil. They're both dogs.
Norm is still really cute too.
No, yeah, you better.
He
not-
was a little offended whenever I was loving on Phil. Whenever I was there.
Oh, he probably gave you the face.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, please don't say anything bad about Norm, or he'll cancel the advertising.
That's
okay? And he'll no longer be a sponsor. But no, they do a great job. So I think everybody here uses them for the real estate closings and their search work. And even if you don't have anything closing, if you've inherited a house, got a house through different measures. And well, that didn't sound so good.
Different.
What does that mean?
That's a new term. I've never heard you use that.
Can I use that in my own advertising? Getting houses through different measures.
That was I cannot do it, Mindy. But Natalie sent us a thing the other day. If an Italian was president, now remember her dad is an investment banker in New Jersey. And
of course, she sends it to me because, I grew up in Chicago. So we have that, mafia mindset, I guess.
But it was like this comedian was on there, and he said, with Afghanistan, if you'd had an Italian president, the war had been over in a day. And they would ask him, how'd you do it? You go, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Like, hey, you know what time I had to get up to get over here?
Yeah.
It's early in Jersey.
Yeah. They find Osama bin Laden, the two hit. He said, we sent the Army, Navy, and Marines. We just sent, the Italians would have sent two guys from New Jersey.
Yeah, two hitmen, basically.
And they knocked on the cave door and said, or kicked in the cave door and said, Osama, pull up a rock.
Pull up a rock. Listen to him.
And then the other guy would have hit him over the head. They'd stole the rugs, and the war had been over.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, folks, I just returned from New York, Brooklyn this week. And so I'm listening to Charlie, I'm listening to you all, and I love the accents up there. And don't get me wrong, when you walk around New York and so forth, all the different languages and tongues that are being spoken, most of the time it's not English that the people walking by you are speaking. But just walking out, obviously we did a little stint in Chinatown and Little Italy. We were there in Little Italy to grab lunch, and just walking down the street, they have some strong personalities on the sidewalk, because now they all have the little shacks built on the street where you can eat either in the restaurant or in the little shack on the street. Guys, strong accents.
Yeah.
Hey, come here. Let me take good care of you. Good lunch. Good lunch. Hey, I give you half price. I give you happy hour drinks. I give it. Come on, sit down there. Sit down. Come on. And you're like, I don't know. I'm just waiting. No. Don't go next door. That's Olive Garden. Don't go there. Come on. And you walk next door, and the guy's like, hey, how y'all doing? Come on in here. I'll take care of y'all. Get that lunch. You look good. Hey, come on. And so I'm listening to you tell the story, and I'm listening to all these different guys on the sidewalk in Little Italy, just trying to get me to eat lunch.
Yeah.
I felt a little pressure, and the way they are dressed really nicely. I mean, but the strong accents, just trying to get me to eat lunch. And there was a part that I felt a little pressured, I'm not sure I should walk away here. So,
well, I'm getting my shoes shined years ago in the Golden Nugget.
in Vegas.
Yeah, in Vegas, and so there is a guy with that strong accent.
Accent.
And a couple, he was getting his shoes shined next to me, and there were a couple of his friends standing next to him. And one of them says, I don't remember the guy. He said, I told Vinny he needs to come with us. But no, he said, I got some business to take care of. And I'm like,
Got some business to take care of.
And so, Candace, now that you're back, you brought something up as we were walking into the show today. You brought up we have a new team member.
Yes, we do.
Who has been, I'll say it, she's been very impressive.
Yes, she absolutely has.
You want to talk about Wenda a little bit?
Yeah. I actually sold Wenda and her husband a house, and I
Her name's Wenda Schroeder.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved working with her. They're both very busy people. So it took us a while to find the right house, but we finally did. Wenda actually owns both of the Osaka restaurants in Evansville and Newburgh. And whenever she initially told me she was getting her real estate license and she was talking to me about being on the team, I thought, well, we don't really have, part-time agents aren't really what we have on our team. Or,
No.
we don't really hire part-time agents. And she has not been part-time. I underestimated. I thought running 2 restaurants, successful restaurants, it's going to be really hard for her to do this full-time. And she has jumped in and just done great. She got her first sale this week, and she has her first listing appointment today. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have, I live in one of Chris Combs' neighborhood, which we have we've got a new construction listing there. And so I come home one night, and there on the bar is one of the flyers, the open house flyers. I asked my wife, how come we've got them? And she said, well, your agent came by knocking on doors, and that's great.
Yes.
She went around, she was knocking on all the doors. And our CFO at Keller Williams, she was doing open house another week, knocked on her door. She was just going around knocking on it. She didn't know, but she's out there hustling. So it's great to have people like that.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. I thought it's going to be so hard, with her running 2 restaurants, and she's a mother and wife, and
right.
I thought that's really going to be difficult. But she has just jumped right in and really.
So the moral of the story for anyone listening and thinking about real estate, they need to contact Candace to at least open up the conversations. Who knows which pathway or how the pathway may unfold.
Maybe.
And how can they get a hold of you, Candace?
They can contact me on my cell at 812-455-6338, or they can contact me on the team phone, which is 812-430-1708.
All right. You cheated. You looked ahead of time, didn't you?
Just to make sure I didn't have the numbers mixed up.
We've only got 5 minutes left in this show, and Mindy has been quiet almost the whole time, which is
Not
very
really. I haven't been that quiet.
Well, a little quiet for you.
How can I say anything with David talking on?
Well, this
I'm
is true.
telling you. Doing my great Italian impersonations
Yes,
over
I
here
know.
Mindy did
with a
too.
Kentucky twang to them.
You gotta have.
I will say this.
You gotta have the drawl.
Now listen, I loved it. I'd be in New York, and whether we're ordering food, we toured so much, and the people waiting or at the cash register, they would finally say, "I'm just curious, where are you from?" I'm like, "Why do you ask?"
Well,
Brooklyn.
It's like you were talking when my husband and I went on vacation a couple months ago. We were leaving out of Miami. So we go and check into our hotel, and right across the street was a like local chicken restaurant, and they're known for their fried chicken. So I was like, well, let's try it. So we go over there. We are the only non-Spanish speaking people in the entire restaurant.
I believe it.
And it was some of the best food I have ever had.
Oh, I don't know that.
Fantastic. And just all kinds of conversations and people yelling back and forth, and it was fantastic.
I don't know what's going on in this team. Candace in Panama, Mindy's going to Miami.
Well,
Been a challenging real estate market the past couple of years. You got to have other sources of income rolling in.
Even good news.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, just because we have passports.
Right.
Exactly.
Mindy made me think of a special I'd seen on Pablo Escobar one time. His people, when they would come in, they'd come in on like small planes,
Yes.
They just find a landing strip out in
Wherever.
and crash it, or just leave it, and they'd leave that plane there and get another one back. Yeah,
That's how much money. Oh, it's scary how many billions are circulating.
I think it was back then, even with Escobar, it was 90s, I guess. It was over $1 billion a month.
Yeah.
That they were making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Cessna, we'll just leave it laying here.
Yeah.
When we were in Panama, we stayed. The first place that we stayed was it was a bunch of really nice homes, and we rented a condo. And we were told it's called Millionaires Row. And we'd go past places, and we're like, we know somebody was murdered in that house and in that house.
Yes.
Yeah. Millionaires were under the houses. No.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like being in St. Kitts. So there's like the east part of the island, and they call that the rich part because there's all these like big resorts. There's a Marriott there, and they have like resort days and things like that. The west side is where the poor people live. And so we took a bus tour up into the mountain, and our little driver was like, yeah, they just got water and electricity here like 20 years ago. And I was like, what? These little shacks with like
metal roofs,
like
and
metal
everything.
roofs and like hookups to the electricity. It was like, wow, that was crazy.
Well, Mindy, I know you've been. If you go to Tunica, and then you drive on south just a little bit, it is horrible poverty.
There's a lot of houses that have like barbed wire, or the doors are boarded up, and it's very poor.
Yeah, and you have these huge casinos there. But Mindy, there's only 2 minutes left. Any good stories?
I haven't had a whole lot of good stories here lately, other than I'm going to look at some today. So,
that's right.
Yeah, we've
you
got
are.
some tax properties that we're going to be listing. So, but I'm doing a lot of price opinions.
And you were in Bicknell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a haul and a half.
Bicknell?
Bicknell. That is north of Petersburg.
Oh, okay. Hasn't popped on my radar before.
If you sneeze, you probably drove through it.
Maybe that's why I was like,
Blink,
what?
miss it.
Yep. Yeah, we're probably getting one up in Bicknell.
We got a client that bought several National Bank buildings during the crash, and the first one we looked at was in Bicknell. And we go up there. It's at downtown. Downtown was dying. Everything was kind of moving out. Not that it's all that big, but it had.
It's about the same now.
Yeah.
So.
And so, anyway, when he wasn't interested, he complained the entire way back about how far it was.
How far of a drive it was.
Yeah. And how
there's
busy
no good
it
way
is.
to get there.
No, you can't get there from here.
No.
So, Mindy, how can they get a hold of you?
812-483-1309.
That's Mindy Woodward. And if you're having problems with your mortgage, call Mindy. She can help you. She can give you some great tips on hopefully getting back current and getting on the right path.
Absolutely, yes.
And Charlie Butler, you can reach me. My cell phone is area code 812-499-7758. If we can't sell your home, we'll buy it. And so just give us a call. And I think we're about out of time, aren't we, Bobby? Bobby says we got to go. So for Mindy Woodward, Candace DeArmond, David Crow, and his
Rates.
This is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.